Otti's campaign slogan, "Weep no more, help is on the way," strikes a powerful chord among citizens yearning for transformative change and significant improvements within their state. This slogan encapsulates the profound optimism that surrounds his administration and reflects a collective hope for a better future. In this context, Otti acknowledges the pivotal role played by a notable female figure, Professor Otti. He underscores her integrity throughout the electoral process, emphasizing the necessity of honoring individuals who contribute positively to the fabric of democracy. This recognition not only highlights her contributions, but also sets a standard for ethical leadership. However, the discussion inevitably turns to the significant challenges Otti faces, particularly criticism from the opposition over contract awards and infrastructure decisions. The manner in which his administration responds to these challenges will be instrumental in shaping public perception and ultimately determining his success in office. Reflecting on past experiences in banking, the speaker recounts how these experiences enabled them to fund vital projects during economic crises. This narrative reinforces a profound commitment to community development, even in the face of opposition claims that question their intentions. Notably, a significant road project that had long been abandoned has finally been revived, providing the much-needed infrastructure the local community has been waiting for. The speaker emphasizes the positive ramifications this development has on daily life, illustrating the tangible benefits of effective governance. Delving deeper, the speaker highlights issues stemming from the previous administration's projects, particularly focusing on the incomplete government house. They suggest a pragmatic approach, focusing on future developments rather than dwelling on past failures, an attitude that encapsulates a forward-thinking governance model. Despite ongoing debates regarding the necessity for an additional airport in the region, the speaker draws from examples in places like Texas to present a broader perspective on airport density and its potential benefits. This comparison invites a nuanced discussion on infrastructure development and regional growth. The complexities of airport construction are substantial, and the speaker articulates the financial intricacies involved. Emphasizing that funding comes from federal sources and includes significant borrowing by the state, they shed light on the practical challenges that must be navigated to realize such infrastructure projects. Addressing concerns regarding previous debts and financial management, the speaker highlights strides made in reducing debt profiles. They stress the importance of understanding state finances to facilitate future planning, which is critical for sustainable economic growth. Creating an enabling environment for businesses takes center stage, as the speaker argues that many individuals prefer avenues to thrive through entrepreneurial opportunities rather than relying on government handouts. By addressing infrastructure needs, the administration aims to empower local entrepreneurs, fostering a culture of self-sufficiency. A noteworthy point of discussion arises regarding the Maltese Purple Specialist Hospital, with claims of abandonment being firmly countered. The speaker clarifies that it has been repurposed into a general hospital, showcasing a responsive government that prioritizes the evolving needs of its community. Restoring accreditation for the Abia State University Teaching Hospital has emerged as a top priority. This achievement demonstrates a commitment to rectifying past neglect by ensuring the necessary personnel and resources are in place, thus enhancing the quality of healthcare available. The administration's plan includes retrofitting 7 initial hospitals before progressing to subsequent phases of improvement. This structured approach not only ensures that immediate healthcare needs are met, but also establishes a roadmap for continual enhancement in medical services. Strategically established specialist hospitals are set to emerge in locations such as Amakara and Bend, effectively covering both central and northern senatorial zones. This initiative aims to provide focused medical services and ensure that healthcare reaches underserved areas. The speaker firmly asserts that there is no abandonment of healthcare facilities. Instead, there exists a systematic development plan aimed at enhancing healthcare infrastructure across the state, a strategy that signifies a commitment to improving health outcomes for all citizens. Moreover, the significance of community involvement in leadership is emphasized. The speaker underscores that genuine leaders prioritize the welfare of their constituents above mere political maneuverings, highlighting that effective leadership is rooted in accountability and service. In light of the current economic landscape, the ongoing challenges of inflation become apparent. The speaker acknowledges the pressures faced by the nation and the imperative for responsible governance, noting that initial assessments of economic performance often present challenges. The discussion naturally transitions to the necessity for comprehensive economic reforms, such as the removal of subsidies and an increase in local production. The speaker contends that without these vital changes, the economy will inevitably continue to struggle, underscoring the urgency of these reforms. Effective partnerships with multinational companies emerge as essential for fostering sustainable agricultural practices. The speaker discusses the importance of replacing old trees and replanting with more productive crops, which are pivotal steps toward revitalizing local economies and enhancing productivity. Moreover, investing in primary healthcare centers is crucial for the overall well-being of the community. Renovating these centers is not merely a logistical necessity, it's an investment that enhances access to healthcare, thereby contributing to broader economic growth. Addressing educational challenges holds paramount importance for community development. The speaker highlights initiatives such as implementing free education policies and hiring qualified teachers, which could dramatically increase school enrollment and create better opportunities for future generations. Interestingly, a trend emerges as many families are transferring their children from private to public schools, drawn by the improved quality of education and better facilities. This shift not only reflects growing trust in public education, but also indicates meaningful progress in the sector. Ultimately, the governor acknowledges the struggles faced by the local population, expressing a steadfast commitment to ongoing development. He reassures constituents that help has indeed arrived and will persist, reflecting a promise of continuity and support. In closing, he encourages the community to remain focused on the progress achieved thus far, urging them not to be swayed by negative narratives. By emphasizing that they can witness and feel these improvements themselves, he calls for collective optimism and resilience.
On May 29, 2023, Dr. Alex Chioma Otti assumed office as the fifth democratically elected governor of Abia State, Nigeria, under the Labour Party, ending the 24-year dominance of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. A renowned economist, banker, and philanthropist, Otti's victory was a watershed moment for Abia, a state plagued by decades of mismanagement, infrastructural decay, and economic stagnation. His campaign slogan, "Weep no more, help is on the way," captured the aspirations of Abians yearning for change. 2 years into his tenure, Otti's administration has been both celebrated for its bold reforms and scrutinized for its limitations. This interview provides a comprehensive evaluation of his governance, focusing on its achievements, challenges, criticisms, and the transformative potential of his leadership. The Morning Show speaks to Alex Otti.
Welcome to another interview session with Governor Alex Otti of Abia. He leads a state called God's own state. And it's a state of a lot of enterprise when you look at the antecedents of Aba. A sprawling town from its colonial days and a heart and a hub for business in the Southeast region. The big question is, how is Governor Otti going to bring his banking experience to revolutionize this state? Your Excellency, pleasure to have you on the show.
Nice to have you in Abia. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Welcome from Washington. Was it Washington?
Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much.
I was watching you on the screen.
Thank you so much.
Tried to wave. You didn't respond.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Welcome.
Your Excellency, you got here by the grace of God and your campaign, but most importantly, a very important woman, that great professor at INEC, that decided not to compromise. You want to say something about that great woman and state her name extensively, because we live in a country where we don't celebrate heroes.
Thank you very much. And I want to start by welcoming you once again to Abia. Thank you for the first question, because you are very right. A lot of times we don't celebrate people. And I've had time to actually say good things about her. I didn't know her from Adam. Never met her. And when she was selected for that role, that was just like 48, 72 hours before the election. So I was a bit scared because when she was appointed Vice Chancellor of Federal University of Technology, Owerri, I tried to reach out to her because she bears the same surname. She's Otti, Professor Nnennaya Otti. So, and I guess that was 2021. So I got her number, tried to call her, she didn't respond. I sent a text message congratulating her, she didn't also respond. So I just said, okay. I left her. And 2 years later, she was now going to be the returning officer. But then, most importantly, I left everything in the hands of God. And then the election came. If you recall, I've been in this process since 2015. And a particular local government was always used to falsify the results of the election. And that's Obingwa. Again, in 2019, it happened. So 2023, the election, it was clear that I was going to win the election again. And as the results kept trickling from the different local governments, the tally was increasing. I mean, the difference was increasing. And what they did at that time was just wait. So at some point when they thought enough local governments had come in, they falsified the results, moved it to 80,000, from there to 90,000, it ended at 108,000. But then this woman rejected those falsified results and said she was going to stick to the results that came from the polling units. And the rest now is history. So we cannot tell the story of the changes that have happened in Abia State, the new Abia, as we call it, without a reference to Professor Otti. We thank God for her. So I strongly believe that the hand of God was in the whole process. It was God that brought her. So my tribute to her. Thank you.
And tribute to courage. But those in the opposition still say a lot of things about you. Let me tell you some of the things they say. They say you awarded the most expensive contract in Nigeria, 5-kilometer Port Harcourt Road, above for 32 billion to Julius Berger, chaired by your friend. These are kind of the things they say in the opposition about you. Also hear one of it. They say you abandoned the new government house, that nothing was wrong with it, and we are right here in your village. They also talked about the fact that, you were trying to take glory for the geometric power company, when that, contrary to your public boast, that Aba is not even enjoying 24/7 power supply and the residents. And they also went ahead, to say that you abandoned the multi-specialist hospital that was done by your predecessor. So these are some of the things they say about you. I mean, what do you say to all of these things?
Well, the opposition will find something to say. Even if God was to come down to govern the state, the opposition will have something to say. So I think they are busy looking for things to say. All the issues you've mentioned are non-issues to Abia people. Geometric, of course, I told the story of geometric. And I encountered geometric in my banking days when Professor Barton Naji came to me, a bit frustrated. And this was several years ago. I was executive director in First Bank. I believe that was 2009, 2010. Yeah. Just before I left First Bank. And I packaged the facility to help him rescue the geometric project, because the bank, coincidentally, that was funding the project at that time, stopped because of the global economic crisis. And that bank was Diamond Bank, where I had to go 1 year after. And they packaged, if I recall, about $80 million facility. Got the approval, but he couldn't draw because the bank at that time felt that the person that understood the project was leaving, and that was me. And as I left, he came back to me in Diamond Bank. And we sat down and provided all the facilities that he required to complete the project. In fact, we completed the project before I left the bank in 2014. but one problem after another. I believe that's the way God wanted it.
What about the Julius Berger contract, that I talked about, that they said you gave to your friend?
It's a joke. Julius Berger is my friend.
Yeah, they said you gave it to your friend.
Who is my friend?
These are some of the things the opposition.
Okay, so let me.
We'll always say, and
so you know what will happen?
Yeah.
I would like you to go to Port Harcourt Road after this interview. Talk to people. That road had been abandoned for over 30 years. Nobody could fix it, except Julius Berger. And everybody knows. So if you go to Aba and make this allegation, you'll probably not come back.
I'm a journalist. I just asked the question.
No. So what it is that it's not 5.8 kilometers. It's a dual carriageway. It is something else, and I would like you to just go there. So the allegation of the so-called opposition, because they couldn't fix it. So somebody has come to fix it. And every other person is very happy. And Julius Berger is handing over the project to me next week. And
How much did the project cost?
It has gone beyond the 30 billion.
So
it's actually somewhere about 36.5 billion now. Yeah, that's what it is.
And it's good use of money.
Absolutely. It's one of the most important parts of the Southeast, not just Aba. Okay, so virtually everything is made on Port Harcourt Road. It's a very long stretch of road. Right. I would like you to see.
No, I saw part of it while we were, coming here.
No, you've not gone to Aba.
No, I'm not going to Aba.
Port Harcourt Road is inside Aba, not Aba Port Harcourt Road.
Okay.
There's a Port Harcourt Road in Aba.
Okay.
That takes you from inside town all the way to the expressway.
Okay.
Okay, so, and everybody is happy. Even the opposition is happy.
Okay. What are you doing as regards to...
Okay, you also talked about Government House.
Yeah, Government House, yes. And the specialist hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened was that my predecessor commissioned an uncompleted building on the 28th of May.
Uncompleted building?
Uncompleted building on the 28th of May. I would also like you to see it. My people will take you to it. So, and it is supposed to be new Government House. So what did he do? He completed the ground floor, finished it very well, put Italian furniture. I don't like to talk about it, but since you asked,
no, yes.
Put Italian furniture in the place, painted it, and commissioned it. Okay, so the bedroom. So after the inauguration, I went there. When I looked at the ground floor, I was very happy. But as I went to the first and second floor, they were not even plastered. No sanitary fittings, nothing. So that's fraud.
Really?
Yeah. And I would like you, I've not put one dime.
No, are you going to probe your predecessor for that?
You have only 4 years. And when you get into some of these distracting things, you lose focus. I have too much work to do. Probing him is, of course, we called in KPMG at some point, and I'm sure you must have seen that, where they looked at one of the accounts, and they found that some 10 billion naira was drawn for a non-existent airport. So that's the only one that we are saying, bring back our money or give us the airport.
But he says he's fixed the airport, that the airport is, that things are working with the airport.
Yeah, it's Audio Airport.
Audio Airport.
We've just flagged off the construction of the Abia Airport. That's better. Probing is a waste of my time.
But the question a lot of people ask is, if you have an airport in the way, why do you need another Abia Airport? That's always the argument. Does it make financial?
It's a good argument.
Does it make financial?
It's a good argument. But the truth about it is that when you go elsewhere, you'll find that in a place like Texas, how many airports do you have?
But they have
even in Houston alone.
I mean, I was in Texas. I was in Dallas in what's it called, in January. You have the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, which is about the second, third biggest airport in America. Then you have other airports around.
Yes, you have Houston, Hobby. You have Intercontinental.
You have the economic activity to carry it. Yeah. I just came in from D.C. There was Dulles, there was Ronald Reagan, there was Baltimore.
We are thinking for the future. But let me tell you something.
You don't have the funds.
No, let me tell you. The airport.
You still have to borrow money. Why you building it?
The airport is not mine. It's a federal government project.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's funding it? Federal government?
Federal government. Okay, so let me explain how it happened.
Yeah.
So the federal government came up to say it wanted to build a few airports, I think 4 or 5. And Abia was one of them. Okay? And it was not going to be an airport, it was an airstrip that they planned. So and I went and met the president. And I said, Mr. President, the difference between an airport and an airstrip is the wrong way. So if you are going to do an airstrip in Abia, can I partner with you and make it a full-fledged airport? And he said, oh, there's no problem with that. I should go and meet the Honorable Minister for Aviation, Festus Keyamo. And I went and met him, and he didn't have a problem with that. So, and we sat down. You bring your own money. We bring our counterpart for them.
How much are you putting into it?
I'm not sure yet. But our contribution is now the wrong way.
How much is the government, federal government putting into this?
Not sure yet, too. Work is still going on.
So it's still in the ideation stage of the project?
No, we have flagged off, but then a lot of work is still going on.
But the money you will put into it, where is it going to come from? You have to borrow. Because the state does not have this, the financial
you just sit down.
I know you are in the private sector.
Yeah, not just in the private sector.
Yeah, you know how to raise capital.
You are going into my territory. Just leave that area for me. It's my trade secret, money.
I know.
Yeah.
You raise money.
Yeah, so...
Safe to call you Ezego in banking. The king of raising money in banking.
Yeah.
But it's going to put back a deadline on the states.
Don't worry about that.
And that's what we're scared of, because most states are
Rufai,
not
let me tell you something. I just saw the numbers from DMO that in 2023, they said we inherited a debt profile of 138 billion. But that's at the end of last year that we reduced it to 66 billion. We've not borrowed one time.
So how did you clear it? How did you not borrow when you were doing
trade secrets.
Tell us about it.
No, you have to consult me and pay me some money for me to tell you.
Should I turn off the camera?
No, you pay me first. Okay, so... But the thing about money, let me tell you.
The opposition keeps saying, you are borrowing. That it's
and then they come with the facts now. Borrowing. Who did I borrow? Did I borrow from them? If I borrowed from a bank, it will be clear. DMO will tell you.
But I will. Okay, so let me also figures of the airport.
Let me also go back.
Yes.
And let you know that by the time we looked at the books and the numbers, we found that it was actually 192 billion. That my predecessor handed over to me as debt.
How much did it
192
leave for you in the coffers? How much did it leave as money on ground for you to run?
So if you have money in the coffers, you wouldn't be owing. So we had netted. If you net off what is left in the coffers, we had a debt profile of 192 billion.
So he left nothing?
Absolutely nothing.
He left nothing in the coffers?
Nothing. So when you say, you need to understand. I can leave 100 naira in one account, and I'm owing 100 naira in another account. No, listen, that's how it makes sense. Yeah. Because when you say how much did he leave, you are owing money and you are leaving money. Does it make sense?
It doesn't.
Okay, so what you do is you take the total assets and remove your liabilities, and you know what the net is. And I'm saying the net he left for us was 192 billion. So if
more than what the DMO quoted.
Yes, because DMO didn't include pension areas, which we cleared off. They didn't include salary areas, which we also paid. We didn't include all the parastatals that were being owed, including Oboneano Polytechnic and then the medical personnel. So those we have taken care of. And today, I can tell you the state is running very, very well. Don't bother yourself about where I'm going to find the money, because that's my own area.
So you talked about pension areas. Part of the talking point the opposition said is they say you lied that you cleared the pension areas. and they said you also repeated that lie by 2023, that you've not cleared any pension arrears. They said they employed some people into the state service before you came in, that you rooted most of them out, you pulled them out, and you said no, that these employments were not done properly. I mean, what do you have to say about all of these things?
Well, I have responded to them, but if you need me to respond, I will respond again. First of all, pension arrears, some of them we're talking of numbers of 45 to 56 months. People were not paid. So we sat down with the pensioners and we said, okay, you are being owed this much. We need to take them out. So the leadership of pensioners sat down with us for a very long period of time, and we agreed. And by Easter last year, we paid a total of about 10 billion to pensioners to clear all the arrears. So it was like you are going to pay in full and final settlement. Somebody's been owing you for 56 months. No chance that you may get it. But I said, I didn't need it. I need this money in your hands. So if you were here, or if you watched, you found that the pensioners organized a Thanksgiving service. A lot of them were very happy.
But what about the people that make the argument, you know, there's unemployment in the land and all of that? And secondly, the case of the multi-purpose specialist hospital that they said, no, was abandoned. We need to stay part of their talking point. And afterwards, I want us to shift and now talk some national politics, you know. You want to respond to those arguments and say, you know...
Which one is national politics?
No, we have to talk national politics. There's no how you come here.
I don't talk politics.
You don't talk
politics?
I'm
not a politician.
Okay, you're not a politician, it's fine. But you know a certain individual called Abure.
Oh, yes, I know him. Is he part of your national politics?
Oh, yes, national politics, National Labour Party politics.
Okay.
There's a contestation,
okay, so
and they're mentioning your name. They said,
really?
You are the dramatis personae.
Do I want to be governor and chairman at the same time?
If you hear the likes of Arabami and everything, they said, no, you are the ones, you and your very good friend Peter Obi are the ones trying to take over the reins of the party. And the Abure faction said, they're not having it from you. And they don't want to have it from you. But let's talk about, you know, the specialist hospital scenario first. And afterwards, the argument people make as regards, oh, you know, these people are poor, they finally got a job in government, and you said no. So can you tamper justice with mercy, you know, and things like that?
No, that's why I said they should apply whenever the embargo is lifted. Is it not fair?
Okay.
Yeah, so if you were in my shoes, somebody sets a landmine for you, you want to go and fall into it.
Okay.
You have a huge, you are paying some 65,000 people. That's the population of civil servants in Abia. 65,000. And then somebody maybe puts a few more thousand for you. It wasn't in good faith. But it's gone. So at the appropriate time, and I'm sure that those of them who are forward-looking would have found something else to do. And of course, the interesting thing we are doing here is to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Our people are very entrepreneurial. Okay, so quite unlike some of us who want to be given money. Majority of our people don't want to be given money. They want you to create the enabling environment for their businesses to thrive. And once you fix the roads, you clean the environment, you provide good schools for their children to go to, you have good hospitals they can go to. Don't care about government.
Specialist hospital.
Specialist hospital. Now, the specialist hospital was not abandoned. In fact, it's actually working. What we did was to convert it to a general hospital because it's in Aba. You have the Abia State University Teaching Hospital, which in itself functions as a specialist hospital, also in Aba. So you don't need to set up another specialist hospital in Aba. So what happened before my time is that the Abia State University Teaching Hospital lost accreditation in 2021. And the reason for that was that my predecessors abandoned the university. The Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria came back in 2022 and reaffirmed the loss of accreditation. So when we came up in 2023, I gave my people 6 months to fix that teaching hospital, get the necessary personnel, and ensure that the accreditation was restored. To the glory of God, in December 2023, in fact, it was dramatic when the registrar of the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria came here. He said by the time he got to the teaching hospital, he was almost missing his way. And he thought the driver was taking him somewhere else. And so the accreditation was restored in 2023. So everything that you require in the teaching hospital is there right now. So we felt that instead of maintaining, because that hospital was Aba General Hospital that was converted to
Specialist hospital.
The specialist hospital. We thought it was not necessary. With the Abia State University Teaching Hospital, just a few poles from it. So it wasn't a good decision in our judgment. So the general hospital is working very, very well, just like the other 21 general hospitals. But a lot of them are in different states of dilapidation. So we have taken about 7 of them in the first instance, fixing them, retrofitting them. By the time we are done with that, we will take another 7, and then the final 7. Having said that, we also do have a general hospital in Amachara, Omuahia, that we actually want to function with the diagnostic center as a specialist hospital. And of course, there is one in Omonato, in Bende. What's the idea? The idea is to have specialist hospitals in every senatorial zone of the state. So you have the one in Amachara covering the central, you have the one in Bende covering the north, and of course you have the Abia State University Teaching Hospital in Aba covering the Aba senatorial zone, the Abia South senatorial zone. So that's what we have done with that. So it's not any abandonment of any sort.
Okay.
Now,
that's not politics. Abure. What are you doing to that, man?
Okay, so I'm not doing anything to Abure. I have said it time and time. Abure worked very well with me, and as far as I'm concerned, he's still my friend. But I tell friends the truth. So I don't have any problem with Abure. Supreme Court has said, you are no longer chairman. And the man is saying he is still the chairman.
But
something must be wrong.
So, but this conundrum, a lot of people have said, can lead to the destruction of your party. Some people argue that your party is gone. With all of this, are you planning on decamping at some point? Because Delta just left. Other governors are leaving. Governor Fubara, suspended Governor Fubara, went to have a meeting with President Tinubu. And it looks like your party is on shaky ground. And like, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, former governor of Delta, did say today, said they want to be close to the center. Your state is one leg in the center. You know, the speaker, the deputy speaker of the House of Reps happens to be from your state. So that's a great privilege. And he too has been saying that we are going to, consolidate on the state and push it out. So is it not just time for you to align with the APC, or are you going to do it anytime soon?
Okay, so I take your advice.
So you are decamping?
I take your advice.
We can say exclusive that Governor Otti is making the moves to the APC.
Governor Otti is not decamping. And my party is not on shaky ground.
Why?
I've told you this.
The arguments of other politicians.
So listen.
They say lone man. You want to be close to the center.
Don't worry. I'm being close to the center. I'm even closer to the center than some of them.
But you're not in APC. You
can't
be closer than Delta.
Everybody must not be in APC. This is democracy. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu held on to his AD, AC, ACN, before becoming APC. If he was, then he wouldn't be president today. Sometimes you have to also stand for something.
Will you ever leave Labour?
I am not God. So,
you might leave.
I cannot say, if there's no Labour tomorrow, you have already predicted them for the
so
party.
you might leave. That's what I said. You say
I was elsewhere before.
You know, because some people swore that they were never going to leave APGA, but they left APGA.
Who did?
I mean, people move around political parties a lot.
Yeah, of course.
So are you going to say you are never going to leave?
Let me tell you, I was in PDP.
Okay.
And then from PDP, I went to APGA.
So you've been moving around
from
a lot.
APGA, I went to APC. I've been in APC.
So you've moved around a lot.
So
that means you might
that's not the issue.
You might just continue in that line.
That is not the issue.
You might go back home.
That is not the issue. The issue is that the party that brought me to power is Labour. Okay? And today we have fought and retrieved Labour. So, and I said I will send you the Supreme Court judgment. So when you finish reading it, you will know that Abure is just masturbating.
Really?
Yes, it's not. He's out. There is. So you can declare yourself. You can declare yourself the president of Nigeria today. You can.
That means,
does that mean Rufai is now the president?
No, but that means his masturbations are of epic proportion because his masturbations are causing gyrations in the Labour Party as we speak.
Okay, you need to mind your language now.
No, it's because everybody looks at it that all is not well.
You see what?
And they are also they're also pointing at opposition dismembering political parties like it's happening with the APC, with the PDP now, and they're also looking like as the Labour Party. So that's why you can call it masturbations, but these gyrations are getting into the fabric of the foundation of the party, and a lot of people are arguing that would there even be Labour Party in 2027?
Okay, so they are not God. You are just your human intelligence and analysis.
Just like I'm not God to know if you are still going to leave Labour Party at some point.
Exactly. And I'm not God to also say that I will remain in Labour Party or leave Labour Party. Okay. But as we speak, the objective conditions today do not make it for me to leave Labour Party. Tomorrow, anything can change, and I've told you.
Okay.
And I'm very pragmatic, and I look at things, and of course, if I'm going to take any decision, that decision is going to be taken in full consultation with Abia people. Those are the people who are...
Oh, that's the word you politicians say. You always say you do it for
No. You see,
your decision.
I told you I wasn't a politician. Maybe you are the one that are politician now. We are not politicking. No, we must, because the truth about it is that it's Abia people, through God, that brought me here. So there's nobody is more important than Abia people and God. So, and wherever God wants me to be, but it must be a right move. So it will not be by blackmail. And I always find it difficult to discuss people because when you are not in their condition, you are not in their situation. So there are things they may know that you do not know. But as we speak today, we have retrieved the Labour Party. The National Caretaker Committee is in charge now, and they will organize congresses, ward, local government, like I told you, all the way to national convention, so that we get leadership.
When are those congresses going to happen?
Before the end of the year. They already have a timetable.
Okay. I'd like to ask you this. Has President Tinubu done well economically?
Okay, so this is one question I may not be able to answer. Why?
Why?
Because I have access to him. So I can always discuss with him. So it would be unfair for me to come in front of the cameras and be assessing him. And today is just 23 months into the administration. It's still early days.
Did you call President Tinubu and told him it was unfair when he declared a state of emergency in Rivers?
No, I don't. You are also going to an area that I said I will not discuss. And that area is, I won't discuss.
But it's not fair.
I won't discuss.
Okay.
Listen so that you hear me. I won't discuss people. I won't discuss other states. I won't discuss the federal government.
Do you also share that private opinion when you see an uptick in inflation despite, I was just at the IMF spring meetings and the numbers were not good. An uptick in inflation despite rebasing.
Despite what?
The fact that we rebased, the inflation calculation parameters.
Yes.
And there's an uptick again, 24%. the numbers are gloomy. They're saying over a couple of years, inflation might go up 37%. You know, and you guys sit in the economic meeting with the president. Do you ever get to tell him and say, Mr. President, we're sinking, we're going under?
Did you start sinking today? You did start sinking today.
So
you have been sinking.
So is it not worth
and
telling
living
him?
in denial.
So is it not worth telling him?
No. I mean, when we go for meetings.
Oh, living in denial. So you support the subsidy removal, right?
Of course.
You support the flotation of the naira?
Subsidy removal was long overdue. And what was happening? What was happening is that big men like you and I, we are the ones.
Your Excellency, I'm not a big man.
You're a big man. You live in VI. For you to live in VI, you're a big man.
So,
in fact, I'm even afraid of you. When I heard that you live in VI, I said, in Lagos, I used to stay in Lekki. I couldn't afford VI.
At least you own I don't own a home.
Well, we have to find out whether you own. Even being a tenant, to have mind to be a tenant in VI, that means that you are such a big man.
I'm a tenant.
No, but the point is this.
Yes.
There are a lot of things that we should have done. My interventions in this day. I'd written extensively about this subsidy. So it was a scam. We just needed to do something
also
about it.
Floating the naira?
Sorry?
Also floating the naira too?
Floating the naira, I had also written about it. But you see, I think what happened was that the two things happened about the same time.
Which was not a good one.
But then, over time, I believe that this economy, if we keep at it, the economy would rebound. Oh, now, are you surprised that inflation at 24%? What's the interest rate?
Well, it's super high. Going up to 30%.
Yeah, so it goes with interest rate. So if it keeps chasing you, no matter how much you rebase. So that's what it is.
But it's not cheap on people. The fact that the naira is not worth anything.
It's very unfortunate.
And you feel that in your state. Do you tell that to the
president?
No,
it's very unfortunate.
But see,
some of the sacrifices must be made. If you don't make them today, you make them tomorrow. Or the economy will go up in flames.
But Mr. Governor, saying it's very unfortunate does not put food on the table of a hungry person. And people will die of hunger. And people are dying.
And saying it is fortunate will also not put food on the table. So you need to do something about it. We're just talking. We need to do something about it.
So what are you doing?
So one of the things that we are doing is to ensure that we create an environment where productivity will happen. Part of the problem with the exchange rate is because we are not producing much. It's because we are not exporting anything other than oil. It's because we are importing everything from the profane to the profound. We import toothpicks. We import bottled water. Should we be doing that? So that puts a lot of pressure on the foreign exchange market. And until we reverse that, until we produce, do you know how much we spend importing food? Palm oil that Malaysians took from here in Umuahia. We are now buying from them. So these are things that need to be done.
So what are you doing as regards agriculture? If they took the palm oil out from Umuahia, and you are saying Malaysians are bringing it, but I thought you would have jump-started the palm oil.
Of course, we are doing that.
So how many tonnage are you producing now?
No, it's still early days.
Early days?
It's still early days.
But people are hungry.
Oh yeah, you have to. I say, so if you are asking how many tonnage, it's early days because we just came. Okay. In Okwa, we have a multinational company that is partnering with us to remove the old trees and replant them. In rubber, in cocoa, we are in rice. In fact, today we are producing rice in Owerenta. So, but it's still early days. So it's not time to blow the trumpet because we still need quite a lot of time.
Governor, make me understand this. Your IGR in a month is, and your federal allocation in a month is how much?
Small.
Small amount. But you're doing so many things. You want to build an airport, counterpart funding, you're producing this, you're producing that, you're clearing the debt. I mean, how are you doing it? You said it's a trade secret earlier on, but people would like to know this trade secret. Maybe other governors can, can use it. I mean, because...
No, okay, so the first thing is prudence. Okay. Prudence. Okay, so one of the easiest things for me to do would have been to start building a new government house. It's not like it's very comfortable. But I know that if I use the money to put into dealing with maybe the road in Umuahia, I will empower a whole lot of people who ordinarily didn't have access. So you have prudence, then you have economies of scale. What is most important? You need to sit down. As a student of economics, I have my priorities listed. So, and I know that if the man in Ariara market cannot get to the market, he cannot add to my GDP. So, he cannot add to my internally generated revenue. I know that if the woman in Bende cannot access her farm, then she's not going to be useful, not to her family or to the government. I know that if I am sick and I cannot get attention from the primary health care center, then I will be useless to the economy. And that's why when we came, we looked at the 948 primary health care centers in Abia. We went around. All of them were in a mess. And we said, okay, we'll put some 8-9 billion in the budget for renovating 200 primary health care centers in 100 days. That is happening now. By next month, it will be 100 days, and 200 primary health centers will be delivered. We will take another 200 after this one, until we get the 948. We looked at the schools. We found that a lot of our children no longer want to go to school. You see them early in the morning hawking banana and granite, kara and all that. So I was embarrassed because I grew up here. And my parents were not rich, but I went to school. And I knew that if these children would not go to school, then they wouldn't have the opportunity that I had. And I said, okay. I wasn't even too sure what the problem was, whether it was the school fees or they just didn't want to, they wanted to make money. So, and I set up a task force. I said, first of all, I said, let's know how much do we make from school fees. Go back to 2023. Go back to 2022. The numbers were almost the same. And it was nothing. I said, if I take away the school fees, would it be an incentive for these children to go back to school? I'm not sure. I said, okay, I'll take away the school fees, but I'll set up a task force to force those.
So, Abia has some free education now?
Of course. I said, I will force those that don't want to go to school. Do you know what happened? I set up the task force, and I made an announcement. I said, anybody that will see of school age that was not in school, we are going to arrest him, not because we wanted to keep him. We want the parents to come so that we can exchange them with their parents. We've not got one person. In fact, the task force that we set up is now going around to ensure compliance, that there is no school where school fees are charged and that teachers are teaching. So I looked at the explosion when the announcement was made in terms of enrollment was so much. And we found we didn't have teachers. And what did we do? We now said, okay, you know what? There are a lot of people. We are talking of civil servants and other. I said, a lot of people don't have jobs. If you are qualified, we opened up a portal. Please apply. We went to hire 5,000 teachers. And in 1 week, we got 17,000 applications. The second week, it climbed to 30-something thousand. And we shut the portal. We now tested them, and today, 4,600 have been hired. We want to take another 4,000 so that we can fit them into those schools. We are renovating all the schools. Okay? So that's what it is. It's not rocket science. So it's just about being prudent, being deliberate, having a plan.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? And keeping to it. Of course, there's another part of it that's very, very important. The people that you are working with. I don't care where you come from. I'm sure you may have heard that my head of service is from Edo State. I sit down and interview them. And when I interviewed them, and I found he was number one, I got him the head of service.
Okay, so what's the primary school enrollment rate now, uptick, since this new scheme started in Abia?
I don't even, it's been crazy. I don't even, I've lost count of the numbers. People are just streaming. Again, what I also found is that a lot of people are leaving the private schools to come to public schools. Because, of course, you have the good quality, you have good teachers, we are renovating the place. And I called the commissioner for education, and I said, we need to now think of what to do to the very serious private school operators, because we also don't want them to be, they also contribute to the economy.
If there's one word in your mind for the people of your state and you can speak to them now, what would that be?
Well, when we came, we knew our people were struggling. They were weeping. And our mantra was, weep no more. Help is on the way. Exactly 23 months after, because today is the 29th of April, 2025, I think help has come. And I believe that they should keep up with the positive disposition. The 23 months out of 48 is less than 50%. So there's still a whole lot that we have in store to do. And by the grace of God, we are going to deliver on every promise we made them. The state is in the right hands. The state is moving in the right direction. And we also appreciate that they are very happy with where we are now. So they should remain focused. No one should listen to stories, because you can feel it yourself. So, and I also like to thank you for finding time to be with us in Abia here. And we hope you will come again and again and again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's about all we can take with the governor of Abia State, Governor Alex Otti. It's been a very interesting conversation.
Fantastic interview by our very own Rufai Oseni, exclusive conversation with Governor of Abia State, Alex Otti.